Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock. Happy Wednesday to you all. So guys, I'm working from home today. So I'm down in my office and it's raining. And if you guys know me, then you know I am obsessed with rain. So anyway, I'm working in my office and I'm looking at my computer and the emails are really going wild in regards to my recording from yesterday. What was the title of it? It's time to leave. So I stated in the in the recording that it was not particularly, relationship based, but whatever it is that you felt in your spirit, you had to kind of pick and choose and dissect all that good stuff. But anyway, I have tons of email. And the reason why I decided to make this recording is because so many of the emails are parallel to each other. And that is based on toxic relationships. And it, quote unquote, is like time to leave the toxic relationship. And what's crazy to me is how Satan will literally try to make you think that you're the only person in the world going through something. And as I read through these emails, like some of you guys don't even know each other. And the emails are so parallel that it's crazy. So I've responded to a couple of emails and I'm gonna respond back to a few more, but I feel like it would be in the best interest to make the recording, and then I'll hit you guys up in the email and say, hey, I just uploaded a recording about it, and then I'll still touch bases with you. But since the emails are so parallel, I just figured, let me just address this one time in detail. So as I read through the emails, and again, of course, I'm an empath, so I can feel your heartbreaking. I can feel that loneliness. I can feel that despair. You can feel when you're reading people, well, you empath already know what time it is, but you can feel what they're going through. And it's truly heartbreaking. It's gut-wrenching. But the more and more I read the emails, it's like it's very obvious that it's soul ties. Many of you are dealing with a soul tie. You guys know I'm extremely private, but with this recording, I'm going to kind of let you in just a little bit, just a little bit. Only because I feel like it can really be beneficial to help others. In fact, I have a recording on soul ties in regards to how I personally, was able to cut my soul tie. But I think I made that recording last year, and I know that many of you are here, are new. And I want to say, if you guys don't follow Pastor R.C. Blakes, which I know many of you here do because he sent many of you, and I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful, forever indebted because of that. And I'm so glad to have you on. But if you don't follow Pastor R.C. Blakes, and if you're dealing with the soul tie, please go to his page and watch his videos on soul ties. Now, I only been following Pastor Blakes for about 8 months. So my soul tie was like, 4 or 5 years ago. So I wish I had I wish I had known something about soul ties then, but it's all right. It's all right. Here's the thing about soul ties. First and foremost, God is going to have to be in that thing when you're trying to move from a soul tie. The flesh alone, your physical flesh alone, is not going to be able to do it. It's a spiritual battle. Anything spiritual, you can't fight in the flesh. It's not going to happen. And I'm speaking, well, you take it however you want to take it and apply it, but I'm speaking a relationship with God, not so much, churchy, holy, if that works for you. By all means, get your butt to church and let your pastor put some oil on your head. I'm not against that. But I'm talking about a relationship with God because it's more intimate. And when it's intimate, you're getting your downloads directly versus being in an audience of 1,000 people and you're trying to really, all that different energy and spirits are pinging around. You got different energies, you got different spirits all just bouncing off of the walls. Do you? But for me, I need to have that intimate, personal relationship. And so God has to be in the core when you're trying to break that soul tie. Next, someone asked me something and I can relate to it. This was actually a guy, and he was saying that, he had many, many women, and he was just able to move on, but he can't shake this one particular person. And listen, I feel you on that, right? Because it's almost, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm that girl. When a relationship ends for me, it ends. Like there's no hard feelings. It's all love. We're not out here bad mouthing each other. It just didn't work out. And truth be told, it's probably still love there. But just because you love someone, it doesn't mean that you guys belong together. But so I'm not that girl who have an issue with, I might cry, day or two, maybe a week. But listen, life goes on. You got to get back up. But then there's times where you enter a relationship. And for me, it was only once. Maybe you guys had it more than once, but you just can't shake a particular person like you can shake the rest. It's almost like, it's so toxic and you're not supposed to be together. And there's so much up in your psyche, right, that they can be telling you lies over and over, and you can know that it's lies. But by the time you guys are finished fussing and all that nonsense, it's reverse psychology. Now it's almost like you're thinking like, what, really, did he lie or did she lie, or am I overthinking? It's playing in your mind. Like it's literally a mind game. Call it narcissism, call it whatever you want to call it, but or whatever, reverse psychology. It's just toxic, and you feel your mind slipping. Literally, your mind is slipping. And it's like, well, what is it about this fool? Well, this child of God. God, please forgive me for calling your children fools. What is it about this child of God that I can't shake, no matter how toxic it is? On and off again for years and years. You're on 5 months, off 2 months, back on 7 months, on 2 years. You can't leave each other alone. You probably hate each other at this point, but can't even leave each other alone. And I personally believe part of that could be that every individual in this world have their own demons and their own, spirits and things like that. Now, you can be dealing with a person and you may not even know all their struggles and all their demons. They can have childhood issues. They can have, all type of spirits, generational curses, all type of stuff that you may or you may not even know about. And what happens is, of course, when you become intimate with somebody, the spirits are mixing up. So now you got a person who may now have 1,000, and I'm exaggerating, but 1,000 demons that they're fighting with. Where maybe your ex may have only had 2. But this person here has so much demons that they're struggling with. And when I say demons, you guys know I'm not talking about scary woo stuff, but just you get my point. And so now your spirits have now intertwined with theirs, and you may have been able to walk off in the past because it wasn't so many, so you don't have so many demons to fight, where now you're fighting their thousands and yours, depending on how many you got. So now you got a whole war going on in your system. So now when they leave, because you're now carrying some of their demons, those demons need some place to get back to. And it needs to get back to a familiar place. So that's why you're feeling so drawn. It's almost like you're addicted to the person. You can go out, you can act all hard like, okay, dude, I'm over you. And guys, I'm talking about you too, but I'm a female, so it's like kind of sometimes I forget. But like you can go out, your girlfriends call you like, girl, forget this dude. Let's go out, right? So you like, what? So you get in your little sexy dress, your sexy heels, honey, and you go out and you got 50,000 dudes trying to holler, right? And you're fooling yourself like, I'm going to call one of these dudes. I'm going to go out to dinner. I'm going to get over this fool. And honey, you go out to dinner and now you're sitting at dinner with this new guy who you met last night. And what are you doing? Thinking about this fool, child of God, that is at home or wherever he is, probably with another woman. You're thinking about this person, disrespecting the person who is really trying to do the right thing. This is why it's so important that you got to stay single and have that single season when you leave toxic people, because you're bringing other people into that drama and nonsense. And guess what? Because you're intentionally doing it or you're aware of it, karma is going to come back to you. So that's a good reason on why it could be one person is more hard to get, because you can't say, oh, well, I can't shake this one because it's so much love. Well, you loved somebody else, I'm sure, prior. But why is it more difficult? So anyway, let's get past that. So speaking of soul ties, now you can listen to 1,000 messages on how to break a soul tie, right? And it doesn't mean that's going to work for you. That's why, listen, do whatever you want to do. Listen, get your information from whoever your sources are. But again, take it back to your source, your main source, I should say, and allow God to give you your downloads. Because see, what may work for you to get over a soul tie may not work for another person. For example, one of my girlfriends was going through the same thing what I was going through, trying to break a soul tie. And she got downloads from God that she needed to fast, a food fast. Well, she called me, and listen, at that time, honey, you be so desperate, you will swallow a watermelon. You will do what anybody tell you to do to get over this feeling. And so she said she was going through a food fast, right? So I was like, okay, I'll go on the fast with you. She wanted me to go on the fast with her to support her. But I figured, okay, it'll work for me too. I went on the food fast, honey. That food fast did absolutely nothing for me. I was hungry and still crazy. Hungry and still fighting with this fool, child of God. Hungry and just going in circles. So that didn't work for me. It helped her, but it didn't work for me. So then that's when I decided, like, you know what? Let me stop getting information from outside sources and go to the source. So when I went to the source, God told me I needed to not fast from food, but fast from this fool. From this fool. Whatever. It's just natural. Fast from this fool, not food. So I needed to fast from my ex. And I didn't understand that at the time, because I'm like, huh? So I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to be honest with you. I've said this in prior recordings. Do not ask God for anything, for patience, for trust, to break a soul's eye, nothing, unless you are ready to go through hell and back. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you, because I had to learn the hard way. I told you guys, I prayed for patience 15 years ago, and I'm still tested every day with patience and fail 95% of the times. But I'm determined that I'm going to beat this thing. But don't ask for anything unless you're ready to be tested and you're going through hell to get what you're asking for. All right, so one day I was driving. And it was just, listen, you know how you've done argued 1,000 times, but it just, one of those arguments just become one too many, and you're just like, you know what? I can't even. I don't even know who I am at this point anymore. Like, I'm just, God, help me. You're just speaking. Lord, help me. I can't do this on my own. Just speaking in general. And whoop, God swoops in. Did you call me? Did you call me, my child? Did you say, God help me? Okay, I was waiting on you. So that's why I always tell people, we say we're waiting on God, but God be waiting on us, honey. He literally just wants us to say, God help me. All right. So in saying that, this is why you have to be 100% ready. And I'm going to be honest now, from all that off and on for the longest of time, I'm honest enough to say for the longest, I thought I was 100% ready to move on, but I wasn't. This is why it's crucial for you to know that you have to be 100% ready. Because even if you're 95% ready to move on, guess what you're going to be doing? Making up all kinds of excuses. ignoring downloads, wasting people's time. Now, speaking to someone several weeks ago, right? A guy, you know who you are because you're on my page, whatever. And he's asking me for downloads, right? Because of the things I've shared with him, he's always been able to relate to. And I gave him the downloads, and it's like a rebuttal for everything. But this, but that. I can't leave because this. I can't believe. Listen. All I'm doing is giving you the download. I'm not going to sit here and keep debating with you about you got to go back and get a shirt from high school that you got your team logo on it just because you want to go back in the house. If I'm telling you that God's giving me the download to tell you, don't you take your behind back in the house because the spirit's going to jump right back up in you. That's the download I got. Here you go. Take it and apply it accordingly. But I'm not about to sit here and debate with you for 10 hours about but this and but this. This is why you have to be 100% ready. Because when you're 100% ready, you won't keep having, a comeback for every little thing and making excuses for every little thing. When you are 100% ready, honey, you will leave with a t-shirt on. Here's when you know you're 100% ready. You won't even tell nobody you're done. You're going to just pick up and you wouldn't even tell anybody. Some of your closest people won't even know you're done. You're just going to pick up one day and go. How do you know you're 100% done? You're not, because your physical body is tired, right? You're tired in the physical. You're still not 100%. You are 100% tired when your soul is tired. How do you know when your soul is tired? Because you have zero fight left in you. Even if you want to fight for it, even if you want to make it work, there is nothing left in your soul. You are literally defeated. You have no strength. It's almost like a boxing match, like when the boxer passes out or whatever, and they're like pouring water on his face and he's just tired. He's gone. That's when you know your soul is tired, because you literally just flops your hand and say, I'm done. And boop, that's when God swoops in. Oh, you finally done? You're finally done. Let's get to work. So, for me, for Kizzy, those requirements may be different from the downloads that God give you. When you literally ask God, and I'm going to tell you again, don't ask God if you not 100% ready, because you can't take it back. So if you know you still got a little 10% there left, just wait. Just wait. Just wait. But for me, my downloads were, for one, to do a spiritual and a soul cleanse, right? And then I'll kind of get into that. Spiritual and a soul cleanse. Of course, number 2, fast from my ex. I also had it's been so long ago. I also had downloads to, this was the hardest for me. I debated with God for about a week, honey, to change my number. I had like the same, I'm one of these people, like, I don't like to change my number. I know some of you guys probably change number like every month or something, but I'm one of these people, like, I've had like the same number for like 15 years. And I was alerted to change my number. That was the hardest thing, and I couldn't get back from it. It's crazy because that's what I'm telling you. Don't ask for it, because something is going to happen that when you try to back up, you can't. Because, and I'll get to my number thing, why I couldn't even keep it if I wanted it to. But so that was my download, and then it was all about isolation. And isolation was more about so I can hear the downloads. So anyway, so I had to go home, and we didn't live together, so I had to go home and remove anything that he was a part of. That was letters, letters and mails and anything in the house, I did like a whole, if I saw it, if it was a present from a gift from 10 years ago, it had to go. And it was hard because, you want to hold on to these memories, but once you start getting downloads from God, you can't debate God. Like if you're wise, you will not. So I had to get rid of these things, all of these things. And then I had to buy a new mattress. Like, well, I didn't have an issue with that. I had to buy a new mattress, and I know some of you guys are saying, well, get some sage. Listen, I don't know anything about sage. I've heard about it. I'm not against it because I don't know anything about it. I heard it promotes great energy. If sage works for you, honey, then you burn your sage. But I had to get a new mattress, point blank, period. So why a new mattress? I'm sure some of you are thinking like, why a new mattress? Because spirits linger. Couches, curtains, especially mattresses, if you're even doing your thing now. So you got anything that the spirit is telling you that spirits are lingering, you got to get rid of that stuff. Just start over if you have to. Start over why would you even want to go back into the house and if you're the one moving out, why do you want to even go back and get some of that? So leave that stuff in there if there's no sentimental value. Leave that stuff and just start over. You will be amazed that when you start over anew and everything is fresh, how your energy will be so pure to receive, everything that's coming to you. So I did that. I did my soul cleanse. I, anointed my house with oil. I prayed. I opened the windows, opened the doors, and cast these demons out, and cast these spirits out, and all that stuff like that, right? All that good stuff. So that was part of my spiritual and soul cleanse. Ask God directly how He needs you to cleanse your spirit, your soul, your environment. He will tell you. You probably already know. After that, again, it was fasting against Him. And my God, let me tell you what's going to happen. Woo, child. This was five years ago probably. And I'm still thinking about this, how powerful that thing was. When you start to fast against the person, if that's what God tells you to do. If you start to fast against the person, that means you're going to cut everything off. All contact, everything. If you're close to family members. Yep. Some of you, them cousins you're cool with the mama, you're cool with the auntie, all that stuff. And again, if you're not 100%, you're going to keep making excuses. Well, I'm cool with the family. The family ain't got nothing to do with it. Listen, you're right. But when it comes to your healing, honey, that family got to go for right now until you're healed. But again, if you're not 100%, you're going to be making excuses. And those excuses is what's going to keep you tied into. So anything in relation to that person, you got to cut off. It's like you have to starve it. So it's almost like when you're fasting, fast against food, whatever, if that's your thing. But wherever you're fasting against, whatever God has you fasting against, you have to cut it off. You have to starve it. You got to starve those demons. But the hard part is that person is going to come back like full force. I don't know if because when you cut them off, because your spirits and demons are now all entangled together. So because you're cutting them off, I guess their demons is craving you even more because it needs, to start mixing up again. So listen, any other time you can cuss them out, excuse me, Lord, and they disappear for like 2 weeks. This time, they're going to be beating on the door, beating on the windows, like flying kites to find you, calling that cousin who you're cool with. They're going to be calling you from different numbers. It's almost like a maniac because you are starving the demons. You're starving that spirit. And so it's going to be so hard because you're going to have to be firm because you're going to want to go back. It's the norm for you because guess what? You're cleansed because remember, you've done your spiritual cleanse. So right now your body is pure. So you're good. So you have the ball and you better bounce that ball when you have it, boo. You got the ball. So they're going crazy at this point because their spirit is disturbed. But you got to stay firm. Here's what they're going to get you at, or attempt to get you at. And ladies, you know this all so well. What's one of the first men and their petty self do when we're mad with them? You want to go get something to eat? All you gotta do is talk, and I don't even have to come in the house. I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry. I don't know why men will always feed us when we're mad with them. Or take us shopping. I'm not hungry. Nope. So those of you with children, now see, I don't have children, so I had, the upper hand in some areas. But those of you who have children, That's where it's really going to get you. Now, again, this is why you have to be 100% ready, because if you're still at that 90% mark, you're going to make the excuse, well, we have children together, so I have to see them. No, you don't. Find your mediator. No, you don't. There's ways around that. And I have friends who do it. If that means, listen, getting that family member involved where y'all can, pass these children over. Now, the children are very young, I don't, you know what? I'm a stand back on that because I don't have children. So I know that can be very, very hard for some people. I will say this. Ask God how you should deal with, communicating about the children. Because I know that can be way different than when you don't have children. But don't use that as an excuse. There are ways around it. I got friends right now who had to break soul ties, and they had to do that, and it worked. Sadly, the men or women will use the children because, again, they're so eager and they're so desperate to get to you. They will start then using the children because you've blocked everything, to bring messages back to you. The kids come home, Mom, Daddy said he loved you. Daddy want to know if you got a boyfriend. Oh, nonsense, right? Don't even fall into that, honey. Just put some oil in the kid's head and keep it moving. Anoint their little butts and keep it moving. So this is where you're going to have to stay firm. I don't care if there's a parade going around in front of your house and he or she is begging. You're going to have to stay firm. The only way I was able to stay firm is because I made that commitment to God. Again, if I had made that commitment just to myself to say, okay, you're going to break the soul tie and you're going to rely on Kizzy, it wouldn't happen. But because I know I made God the commitment and I asked God to come in to intervene only because my soul was finally tired, then my commitment was to God. And each day, or I say each week, gets easier and easier and easier and easier. Now, mind you, at this point, you're probably at your lowest because when you're in a toxic relationship, your self-esteem is to the floor most times, men and women. Your self-esteem is so shattered at this point that this is the time that you should just be really investing on working on self in whatever areas that have been depleted. Start working, on those areas to really get your self-esteem back up. This is your time. This is your time to really focus on you. But honey, if you mess around, men or women, if you mess around and slip up one time and let them up in the house talking about, oh, I left the diaper bag and listen, you let them in that house one time and you slip up and become intimate, guess what's going to happen? Those same demons that you have cleansed your soul from will re-enter you all over again, and the saga continues. This is why you got to fight to stay solid on knowing that you're not going back. This is why you have to be 100%. And as time goes on, again, you're building yourself and you're, keeping your energy pure and clean. And you're now blocked. He's blocked. His mom is blocked. His cousin's blocked. His sister blocked. You're not going anywhere that he hangs out to. You're not visiting any old restaurants that you guys frequent. You're not doing any of that. You are literally in focus mode. As time go on and time go on and time go on, you will heal, you will build, you will heal, you will build, you will heal. And also make sure that you're, watching your videos and staying into your word and whatever you do. If I'm honest, I'm really not the Bible scholar. I will pull up a scripture and read it. I get totally confused with the Bible. I'm just being honest. I know some of you say, well, you got to pray for direction. I've done that 1,000 times. I'm still confused. It's easier for me to go to Google, pull up a scripture, and just get my downloads from there. Maybe one day God will help me understand this Bible better, because right now I got 50,000 Bibles. I got a teenage Bible. I got this Bible, and honey, I'm still confused. I'm spirit led. I'm not scripture led. I'm spirit led. I move in spirit. But and before you know it, you will have broken your soul tie and you will be here right where I am. And that is making a recording to help your fellow brother or sister. And your ex will still be longing for you, but you ain't got time, boo. You ain't got time, boo. Because remember, at this point here, you're healed, you're whole. So now anybody that comes to you, you can have 1,000 men, or women coming at you, flocking at you all day long, which they do, and you're so healed and you're so whole, and you know what you had to do to get over that soul tie and over that bad relationship, that you're very, very conscious about anybody who you allow to even waste your time, even if it's just an hour for dinner. That's how conscious you are, that you're not going back to that any type of toxic relationship. So you can have 1,000 people pounding at your door per day, asking for whatever, chance, dinner, or whatever, and instantly your spirit, because spirits recognize spirits, so instantly you can be like, look, listen, boo, you cute, I see you, but your girl ain't got time. Your girl ain't got time. Your spirit got to match this spirit, baby, for real, for real. But I hope this helps someone. I'm going to email a few of you right now and I'll let you know that I did upload this video on how I broke my soul tie. You guys have a great one. It's your girl.